A reading from the Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus said to his disciples, "Not everyone who says to me, 'Lord, Lord,' will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only the one who does the will of my Father in heaven. Everyone who listens to these words of mine and acts on them will be like a wise man who built his house on rock. The rain fell, the floods came, and the winds blew and buffeted the house, but it did not collapse. It had been set solidly on rock. And everyone who listens to these words of mine but does not act on them will be like a fool who built his house on sand. The rain fell, the floods came, and the winds blew and buffeted the house, and it collapsed and was completely ruined." The Gospel of the Lord. So when I was thinking about the gospel today, that there's a familiar teaching that's associated with Confucius that came to my mind. It's when I hear, I forget. When I see, I remember. And when I do, I understand. And I think that's along the lines of what Jesus is recommending to us, because the one who acts is associated with wisdom here. Certainly a firmly built structure, but they're also called the wise ones. And those who don't act are associated with foolishness. So acting and doing is connected with full understanding of the teachings that we have from Jesus. But that analogy that he uses of the structures that we built and that we presumably live in and that keep us safe seem to go beyond understanding. Understanding is not the end point in this gospel. It has to do with the value of action itself, of our lived embodiment in the world. And that when we embody what we're teaching, when there's a kind of integrity between our convictions and what other people see in our actions, that's a solidly built foundation. And as I was thinking about that way that we might live solidly built lives, I was taken to our moment that I love in the 9 o'clock family service, where during the Great Thanksgiving, everyone gathers around the altar. And at one point, there is a young reader who picks up a microphone, and in a voice that always strikes me as kind of like saying the emperor has no clothes, raises the question, "Hey, why do we follow Jesus?" And the response that comes, everyone in unison, is because he is God's loving action, his saving love, in action. And there's that word action, that we follow Jesus because he is saving love in action. And so it follows that our Christ-like lives should be acting, should be actions of love in the world. And that's connected to understanding and reinforcing our understanding, kind of having that consistency between what we believe and what we show in the world. And it's not always easy, clearly. I was taken back to a time when I was in Philadelphia, kind of on my own at a conference. I'd slipped out and was just going to grab something to eat. Went to a McDonald's, nothing extravagant, was going through the door and noticed there was a gentleman kind of soliciting our change at the door. And I walked past and thought, okay, as I'm waiting in line for food, maybe I can get something for him and provide that on the way out as just an acknowledgement that he had been seen. And it was really busy in this McDonald's. And as I made my way up to the counter, I heard a voice ordering at the cashier next to me. He said, "I'm going to have the Big Mac and a medium Coke and some fries. And my friend here is hungry and he can have whatever he wants on the menu." And that just struck me as beautiful. A way of kind of not just providing food, but providing relationship, reaching out in a way that is God's saving love in action. Well, I saw that some years ago and it struck me so hard. I thought, okay, that's a teaching moment and I can take that into my life. And I think there are moments when I have done something that is maybe along those lines, but not as often as I would like. So today's gospel lesson is a teaching about the importance of action, both in our own lives and in the opportunities that we have to show the kingdom to others. And that's my prayer for us this Advent season, is that we find those opportunities to manifest the kingdom, to incarnate the kingdom to others, and that we're ready to find it in the most unanticipated spots. God be with us.